Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. I'm so glad you're here today. It's idiots. Idiots are abounding all over the place. They're like rabbits. They're just multiplying. Oh my gosh, more and more folks are joining the Streaming Idiots Facebook group. Thank you. Welcome. Glad you're there. And we've got a bunch of idiots watching today. I say idiots. I really don't mean it in the derogatory sense. I mean it very affectionately. Because we kind of all understand that we don't know it all. And if you do know it all, you're welcome anyway. But, you know, we'll kind of look down on you and say that you'll grow out of it. No, I'm just teasing. But it's great to have so many folks so interested in live streaming and a great discussion going on at the Facebook Streaming Idiots group. If you haven't already joined, you can just go to Facebook and just search Streaming Idiots. That's the easiest way to do it, and you'll get a great group there. Really, I want to give a shout out to Paul and Tess on the PTC Optics show that preceded this one. They did an excellent show on green screen. I was able to catch part of it, and I can't wait to go back and catch the rest of it. And there were some good tips there that I hope to use. We're using a green screen here today. I don't know if you can tell. Well, you probably already knew that because it's our same background that we've been loving to use for years, and it may be about time to update it with something else. But it's been a lot of fun to use the green screen and to teach other folks to use the green screen. I won't say that I'm 100% sold on green screens for everybody, but I think for a lot of people, it's a great way to do a lot for not a lot. That is, you can put in a background like this for the $9 or $12 cost of a big sheet of green screen fabric. And don't tell my wife, but I've put holes in the wall to attach it to the wall back there. And suddenly you can be anywhere in the world. The key is lighting. The key is lighting. But we're not here to talk about green screens. You can watch the PTC Optics show from earlier, and they will have it all for you. Let's see. You know, I realize that I'm using a different camera today. And I forgot to do a recording ahead of time to make sure that I had everything right. So if you guys could give me a shout out and tell me if the lip sync is on or if we need to delay the audio a little bit. Because we're using a different camera today. I'm using the PTZ Optics cam, the Gen 2. It's the 12X version. It's the SDI version that's been upgraded to NDI, and it's NDI HX. So it has about 4 frames of delay or latency in it, and so I have to always match my sync. Alan says it looks good, and if Alan says it looks good, you know it looks good because he's a woodworker. He's a wood turner, and he has to be very precise. So you know he's got. And Ted in California says it looks good too. So thank you, Ted. All right. So let's move right into the show, shall we? Oh no, let's do the full disclosure first. This show is a giant infomercial. Did somebody leave their phone on? Oh my gosh. Hope it wasn't me. Hold on a second here. Oh my gosh. What am I thinking? If anybody should know better than that, it should be me. Today is today's show is a giant infomercial for my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. And right down there. Oops. Oh, look at that. So much for being, there it is. It popped up there for a second. I did so many new things today, I didn't go through my normal checklist to make sure I had everything right. I've been playing with my X keys all week this week and testing out a bunch of new things, and apparently I must have added an extra shortcut to one that I was already using, so we won't go back to that button. Anyway, full disclosure, Eastern Shore Broadcasting is my company. You can get to the company at easternshorebroadcasting.com. That's my cue to point right here, but it's not there. So anyway, we design and build PCs for streaming. We represent PTZ Optics, so if you're interested in PTZ Optics cameras and you want to buy them from somebody besides B&H that knows about them, that would be us, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. We also represent Magewell, the capture card folks, and Marshall for their camera line. And of course, X-Keys, PI Engineering, and probably our bellwether would be vMix. We were just recognized last week or 10 days ago by vMix as their number one reseller here in the U.S. So we're really thrilled about that. That's a great honor to be recognized like that, and we look forward to seeing those guys in Las Vegas at NAB in April to thank them for that. So if you need X-Keys or PTZ Optics cameras, or if you have a question about how something works, or if you want to buy vMix, if you buy vMix from me directly in my website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, you get me with it. That's the bonus of buying vMix from me as opposed to buying it from vmix.com, which is okay too. You just get support from them, and then you can watch me and learn. For folks that have already got their vMix, if they want to get support from me, we do have a support package, an annual support package. It's on the website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, in the store. So that's the commercial part of our infomercial. We got that out of the way. Really excited. A couple more notes, and then we'll get into the show meat. Tonight, our sales and marketing for live streaming for rookies is going to meet again. So if you're in that class, don't be late, and don't forget your homework. We are also introducing a new class starting in February, the first Tuesday in February. It'll sort of be a vMix 101 class. I didn't hear that, did you? Why are they right outside my door? Go away! Sorry about that. Anyway, we've got a vMix 101 class. It's sort of the basics of production. If you've started out with vMix and you've just started using it, which most people do, you've probably missed a lot of things. You've missed tips and tricks to make your workflow more operate more smoothly, tips and tricks to save you time and energy and heartache and headache. And it probably will be worth the price. It's $99 or $99.95. Anyway, it goes for 6 weeks on Tuesdays. And you can sign up at vMix, not at vmix.com. You can sign up at easternshorebroadcasting.com in the store under live streaming rookies. It's a rookies class. We also will be introducing a using vMix for sales training class coming up a little later, probably in the spring after NAB. So we'll have more information on that as well. And speaking of NAB, if you haven't already, you want to go ahead and get your room and your flight reservations for NAB. It's the second week in April, starting, I think the show starts on April 9th, which is a Monday. That's the exhibition hall. That's the part you want to go to anyway. It's open Monday through Thursday that week, which I think is the 9th through the 12th. I'll be there. The folks at vMix have graciously invited me to come put on a vMix shirt and be with them for the week. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Tuesday night, April 10th, we're having a special Streaming Idiots Meetup at Scott Whitney's Podworks studio right there in Las Vegas. He's got a live streaming studio with 3 live streaming sets, and you won't want to miss that. Plus, you won't want to miss getting to hang out with all your other live streaming friends, new and old. So that'll be a great thing to do. Timing is going to be, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. We'll dial that in a little closer. And there's no charge. It's a freebie. And they'll have door prizes. I think we're giving away, a vMix license and maybe a vMix T-shirt. And we're giving away an X-Keys. And we've got some other things that we'll have to see about. I think we're giving. I think everybody that comes, can you confirm that? Okay, yeah, everybody that comes is going to get a Streaming Idiots koozie. So they're under design and development and design right now. So you want to come just for the koozie, if nothing else. All right. So, where are we in this show? Well, we can't do the lower thirds because they're broken. How about the, can we do the stinger? Can we do the stinger? Okay, let's try to do the stinger. Let's see if the stinger works. Ta-da! Boom! There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, all right. So you can see there's our cam. This is the cam that we're actually using for the production last week. This week. Last week we were just showing it off. And so we're gonna hit to the cam here just a sec. And that is the cam. The NDI version looks just like the SDI version. And in fact, they're indistinguishable. In fact, if you put them side by side, you would never notice them. But that's really not what we're talking about today. What we're going to be talking about today is, oops, hold on. Where's my drum roll key? Oh, I better not do that. Drum roll key might end up being an explosion of some kind or something like that. So what we're going to be talking about today is POW! The new vMix, vMix 20.0.0.51. Yes, indeedy. And you saw these cool shirts that Martin and Tim were wearing last night. Martin had the black one, of course. Tim had the gray one, and I got a gray one. It doesn't fit quite as well on me as it does on them, but that's because they're like 60 years younger or something like that. But let's talk. Shall we talk? Let's talk about vMix 0.51. 0.51 has got Ndi 3 support. Yes, Ndi version 3 has been officially rolled out and it is officially in vMix. I think it was just rolled out like in the last 20 minutes or something like that. Not really, but you know what I mean. And Martin Sinclair was ready. He had been playing with the various betas of Ndi 3 and has got it on there. Probably the biggest news, and the news that I can't demonstrate, is that it has improved performance, and vMix does. It has improved performance and quality with Ndi 3, especially for 4K sources on the network. There's the future, folks. And vMix is right smack dab in the road that leads to the future by saying that we are not only updating to the latest greatest NDI, but that the latest greatest NDI has 4K support and is being tweaked, and vMix is tweaking right along with it. Now, one of the big differences in Ndi 3 as opposed to Ndi 1 and Ndi 2, I guess you would call it, really, it's kind of like Ndi and Ndi 2. The First World War was not called the First World War. It was called the Great War. And then when there was a second one, they renamed it. So Ndi, the very first one that came out, was great. Ndi 2 was good. Ndi 3 has this improved quality for 4K. Plus, it has a handy dandy extra feature called Ndi HX. Well, Tom, what is Ndi HX? I've been living in a bubble. I don't know. Ndi HX is Ndi Lite. Ndi will make my well, let me rephrase that. Well, yeah, right here. I'm doing it today. I'm using Ndi to send the program feed from my production PC right here to a second PC to be streamed and recorded. That second PC is accepting the program feed over my local area network at about 100 or 120 megabits per second. Quite a bit. If I was using a 100 meg network, it wouldn't work. So I'm sending a 1080p 30 frames a second feed. It's about 100 megs. Ndi HX is a amazing compression technique that takes that 100 megs and squishes it down to about 10 megs, 10, 12, maybe 8, depends on how much movement there is in the video, those kind of things. And so it's perfect for a camera. So my PTC optics used to be an SDI camera. It still is, but it's an NDI camera now, is sending a video feed to my PC over the network that's about 10 megs. And it's what we're using right now. Now, one of the things that we give up, of course, there's probably quality for those of you like Alan Z that are just super duper quality guys. You probably can notice the difference in quality. I can't. I guess if I threw it up on a 20-foot monitor, I could. But the biggest difference that I notice is 4 frames of latency. We talked about that just a minute ago because I wasn't sure if I was in sync. 4 frames of latency is about 120 to 130 milliseconds. So right around 1/10 of a second. That is, it's enough to adjust the audio on, I thought, because my audio was out just a little bit ahead. If your audio is delayed a little bit, it's not quite so noticeable, but it's very noticeable when it's out ahead of the video. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and delay it at that point. So that's what we've done here. So this camera is Ndi HX. Now it's not going to produce, and I want to clear this up because there may be some misunderstanding about this. It's not going to produce a full NDI feed. It's not going to produce that 100 meg NDI feed from this camera. It's going to be Ndi HX, just as the just as the NewTek PTZ1 PTZ camera is Ndi HX, and the Panasonic PTZ camera is Ndi HX. So the cams at this point, at least the ones that are available that I'm familiar with, are Ndi HX. Now you say, well, I don't want to do HX. Well, your solution then is a device like, in fact, this may be the only device out there, at least at this point, like the BirdDog TV Studio, which is essentially it's a PC in a little teeny box that converts SDI or HDMI to NDI, full NDI, 100% NDI, NDI original, the big stuff. And we'll talk some more about that. We had the BirdDog on the show a while back, and we'll bring him back at some point in the future. In fact, yeah, that was BirdDog's out there earlier, trying to get in and be on the show. One of the other cool features that vMix 5.1 purports to have is not automatic, but recording of Ndi devices. For example, my camera. So I should be able to right-click on the camera source, and it's as easy as, well, let me just show you. Let me show you. Let me set up a thing. I hadn't gotten to this. So let's just set up a quick desktop capture. We can capture, I think it's display 2. That's the one. There we go. Okay, so we're going to fade over to that desktop capture. You can see me over here, the big me. I'm in preview. Over there is program. Down there are all my inputs. And on another monitor are my audio inputs. You can't see those right now. But my NDI camera is this input right here, number 6. And let me do one more thing here. Let me put this on sharpen so you can see the text a little bit better. There we go. So if I right-click this guy, it's going to open up a different window that gives us lots of choices, but in particular, what we're interested in are these choices right here, which are start recording, and then it names the PTZ Optics camera, which in this case, the name of my camera is Channel 1 because I haven't renamed it yet. And then it has the date and some other numbers, .mp4. So that's going to be the name of this recording. And so it's as easy as clicking Start Recording to start recording. And if I right-click again, then I can stop the recording. And according to Martin Sinclair on last night's vMix Funtime live show, that uses virtually no processing power. Obviously, it's going to use some disk, and it may use a little bit of bandwidth getting the video from point A to point B, but it uses virtually no processing power to make that recording. So it's almost like a free recording. and it will do it in whatever your default settings are in vMix for recording, and will do it to the default recording location. So in my case, I've got it going over to a second drive, and so it would go there to that second drive. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Also in this, and we'll use this same shot for this, let's go into the settings for the camera, and we'll go to the PTZ tab. If you've used a PTZ camera with vMix before, this is familiar, but what will be new is this focus section. So I can now come into manual focus, and I can do all sorts of things with the focus. Oh, excuse me, that's the speed of the focus. So let's focus in and focus out. Doesn't look like it's doing anything. Do I look different? We'll have to go back and check that one. I didn't check that one pre-show. But it does look like, of course, the zoom is working. And we have the ability to adjust the speed of the zoom and to adjust other speeds. Those have been there for a while, and then create additional inputs. That's been there for a while too. So the new part is this focus part, and we're going to turn that off. And we'll have to go back and see why it's not working here. That's interesting. So much for that feature. Other things, they've added some new shortcuts to go to the to go with the NDI start recording and stop recording and the focus. Oh, I see. It says here in the notes, my notes, that the Ptc Focus command is for the Sony Visca over IP only, so it's not going to work for PTZ optics, at least not at this point. And then it says it has added Ptc Focus support for cameras supporting Visca over IP, which includes the new tech PTZ camera, but does not yet include the PTZ optics camera. So that hopefully that's coming. One of the nice things that I like about this new feature, and let's go back to this shot for just a second, is to right-click on the camera, and we can go to Configure Source. Well, Configure Source allows me to go to this window. And this is actually not a window. This is a browser window where I have gone immediately into my PTZ optics camera setup. So I've got all of the, well, I can't do it there. Let's do it over here. I've got all of the abilities to change all the settings, and it pops this up the same way it wants me to save that. There we go. It pops all this information up the same way it would if you were looking at the source for a Logitech camera, for example, something like that. So we will get out of that and cut back over to this, and we'll come back up to that shot right there. There we go. The other thing I like that I think is interesting, that has nothing to do with NDI and is going to be a lot of fun. It seems like just recently, maybe in the last 6 months, maybe less, people have discovered a feature that's been in vMix for 2 or 3 years. That's how those rascals at vMix are. You know, they are so far out ahead of the curve sometimes. They're putting features into vMix that people won't use until later. And then all of a sudden they realize, wouldn't it be great if vMix could somehow interface with Facebook or YouTube or Twitter and pull out some of the comments so that I could have them as part of my broadcast. Well, Martin realized that years ago. He called it vMix Social. And now people are beginning to discover how cool it is to be able to use vMix Social and pull in comments from the show. Tom, why don't you do that? I'm a stick in the mud. It does require a second operator to do it effectively, and I'm a one-man show. But I can show you, and let's go back to our desktop for just a second. I can show you what some of the new templates are. We'll go to Titles, we'll go to Social, and we'll scroll down to social, and you can see, aha, look at these cool new templates. And in fact, Tim was using one last night on the vMix Funtime Live show where it covered him and left Martin kind of in a solo shot, and then the speech bubble there had the comment in it, and he had reorganized how the comment, well, obviously these guys have already got these set so that all the comments that would otherwise flow off the edge of the page fit perfectly into that speech bubble. Really, really nice. And I can't wait to use it, although I don't know that I'll be using it on this show. We'll see. There's some other changes there. The one that I like the best of the other changes, and again, let's go back to this shot, is that the transition bar here in the middle, you can see where my mouse is moving up and down. This transition bar, oh, and you see my timer just turned red because I've gone over time. The buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4 across here are a quick and easy way to turn off individual overlays. And in fact, they'll work to turn on whatever overlay was there last. So you can see we can turn on that overlay by clicking that one, turn on that overlay by clicking that one, turn on that one. Oh, there's Rich. And I guess there is no number 4. And sometimes, depending on the configuration of your screen, you know, if you take your screen and draw it up like that, those buttons would disappear. And now, as you can tell, those buttons don't disappear anymore. They stay up there. And actually, let's go into the Options tab, and we'll take out the T-bar. We don't want the T-bar. We don't need the fade to black. So we'll say OK. vMix wants to restart, but we really don't want to restart because we'll lose the program. But you can see the T-bar is gone and the fade to black is gone. And I'll take that, draw it back down. So you can see, there we go. That's a little bit better shot. Okay, so you got a little tip in the process. So vMix 20.0.0.51. If you're an NDI person, if you've got the NDI, or if you have pre-ordered the Ndi Upgrade for your PTZ Optics camera, or if you have pre-ordered a PTZ Optics camera with NDI factory installed, you won't be able to use this yet, but you will soon. The word on the street continues to be that Ndi will be released as an upgrade for existing Gen 2 cameras by the end of this month. Today's the 23rd, end of the month. Oh, today's the 24th. The end of the month is rapidly approaching, more rapidly than I thought. Anyway, so get ready. I tested the latest, greatest firmware today, quite by unintention. I mean, it wasn't by accident, but it wasn't something I set out to do. And it went really, really smoothly. I was very impressed, very pleased. And there was only one typo in one of the little windows that came up, but that's okay. It was probably an Australian way of writing that word. So if you haven't got the Ndi Upgrade, if you haven't pre-ordered it, and you have a Gen 2 camera and you want it, before the camera, the factory Ndi cameras are released, you can get the Ndi Upgrade for $300. It's going to be $600 after that. If you want to purchase a PTZ camera and say, well, I'll just go ahead and do the Ndi Upgrade, but you would like somebody else to do the upgrade for you, really, I would be happy to sell you the camera and make the upgrade for you. You still have to buy the upgrade, but I won't charge you to make the upgrade for you. But actually, you know, it's so simple now. I think people can just blaze right through it. When I did it 2 weeks ago, it was more complex and more convoluted because there was a lot of extra work outside of the firmware just to get the camera to connect to the network. And I think they fixed all that. So I think we're in good shape. Take a look. If you want the new vMix, the 20.0.0.51, or let's just call it .51 for the sake of argument. If you want .51, you can go to vmix.com and download the free trial. Well, the free trial is just the latest, greatest version. and you can install it right over your existing vMix. If you have, vMix 16, or I think, when did I come on the vMix? I think I came in the vMix world in vMix 12. If you've got one of the older versions, you may want to uninstall it first and then install the new one. But I'll tell you, don't tell anybody I told you this, but I think you can upgrade to the latest, greatest version. Now you can't step up from like HD to 4K or 4K to Pro or something like that. That's the additions, where you upgrade the additions. But you can upgrade to the latest version just by getting it and installing it. Shh, but don't tell anybody that I told you. It wasn't from an official. It wasn't an official person that told you that. It was just some guy you met on the street, where he opens up his overcoat and tries to sell you a banana or a watch. Anyway, so we're gonna head out here in just a second and go to post show. If you've got questions or if you want to see demos on stuff, I'd be happy to do that. NAB, don't forget to register. Coming up in April, it'll be here before you know it. The vMix sales and marketing for streaming rookies is tonight. It's the second class, and it's going really well. There'll be 4 more classes, including tonight. Coming up the 1st of February will be the vMix 101 class. Coming up in the spring will be vMix using vMix for sales training. Will be a very interesting class. And last but not least, the Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB on April 10th. You will want to be there. You can get more information on that. If you're watching from Eastern Shore Broadcasting, .com, you'll want to go over here. I think it's right over here, and get on our email list, because that way we can send you notices like the Streaming Idiots Meetup or other things that you might not otherwise get to know. Somehow it might just slip right by you. And we promise we won't spam you with a bunch of sales stuff. I mean, we might send out a sales letter every now and then, but it's not a big major sales effort. Frankly, we don't have to do a big sales effort. We're in a great position where a lot of folks are coming to us for knowledge and expertise, and they're purchasing products as part of it. And that's how we monetize this show, is through the sales of hardware and software and streaming PCs. So if I can help you with any of that, I'd be delighted to, of course. So let's see if my shortcuts work. And I should have tested all that, but I was upgrading my camera. That's my excuse. The dog ate my homework. So let's see if we can get out of here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern, Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair.